Advent comes from the Latin word adventus, and it actually means coming. And it's a translation from the Greek word parousia. Parousia is basically the coming of Christ. However, in the 4th and 5th century, Advent was a season of preparation for baptism of new Christians that happened in January. And it was a celebration of God's incarnation. And during this season, right here, right now, Christians would spend 40 days in penance, in prayer, and fasting to prepare for this celebration. Then, in the 6th century, Roman Christians tied Advent to the coming of Christ. So they tied it to Jesus' returning. And not that Jesus came as a manger in Bethlehem, but that he was his second coming, that he was to return. But by the Middle Ages, the season was linked to Christ's first coming at Christmas. It's a man-made religious endeavor. And we follow this because I so believe that it is a good time to pause and to rest, because we can so easily get caught up in the busyness of Christmas. And we can get so busy, caught up, and being distracted by all these things going on. And by the way, Jesus wasn't actually born on this day, just FYI, so that everybody knows. But this is a time that we choose as a community to go, what does Christ's coming into this world actually mean? What does it actually look like? So for me, it's a season to purposely slow down. It's a season to remember and to be mindful of Christ's coming to this earth for you and for me. It reminds us, a season to remember that God sent his Son into this world because he loved humanity. He loved you, and he loved me, and he loved the world so much that he sent his Son. And the thing that blows me away is that he trusted humanity with his Son. This broken humankind, he trusted with his Son to say, raise him. As this little baby, he brought him as this weakest vessel that relied on humanity to raise him. He brought him into this world. He trusted us so much with his most precious gift. It's actually quite beautiful. It's actually an incredible image of God going, I know you are broken, humankind. I know you are lost, humankind. But I am going to send my Son to a young, teenage, 17-year-old girl who's not even married at this point. And I'm giving him to her for her to raise with she and her soon-to-be husband, to develop him and do everything that he needs to do. This is my Son that I'm offering you as a gift. It's really beautiful. And it's beautiful to me because it's God going, I love you, humanity. I love you. I love you so much that I'm sending my Son for you. I just drink that in. There is the wonder and there is the beauty of Christmas. I love it. But Advent is also a time to purposely remember that we are not alone. That we are deeply, deeply loved. That we are a part of a larger whole. It's not just about me. It's not just about my family. It is about us. And it is about this world. So it goes even beyond what we get, what we don't get, who's at the table, who's not at the table, talking about Christmas Day. But it's about us as a community. It is about walking through the stores and seeing the people that you're surrounded by and going, God died for them, and he loves them too.
Yeah.
It's about buying something, maybe, but looking at the clerk whose hair is standing on end and who is frustrated and who's nasty and not nice and going, you know what? You are loved deeply. Even in this moment right now, you are loved deeply. See, we get all caught up in all the machinations of Christmas. And Jesus is going, just stop, pause, remember who I am. My husband would always say, like, I would be fretting and worried about gifts for the kids. And Tony would go, if they don't get a gift, Christmas still comes. He goes, Jesus still came. He goes, it's not that big of a deal. He would always remind me of that truth. This is a time to remember that we're forgiven. It's a time to remember that we're called to walk in grace towards one another. And I just read this yesterday. It says this: grace is the face that love wears when it meets imperfection. Grace is the face that love wears when it meets imperfection. Come on. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So we're going to step into this season in a deeper way. We've got to slow down. We have to quiet ourselves, and we have to listen. And as I shared this morning, even when you quiet and you slow down and you listen and you don't hear from God, it's okay because He's still speaking. So often I find that when I quiet myself purposefully to listen, I don't listen. But then when I'm like, walking down the street or eating a cheese sandwich or something like that, all of a sudden God goes, what? And there it is. I'm like, oh, there it is. For some reason God talks to me a lot when I'm putting my makeup on. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm not talking. Maybe that's why. But all of a sudden I'll just be putting mascara on and all of a sudden it's like, bam, there it is. He just downloads something to me. So don't worry so much about quieting and as much about hearing when you're listening, as much about just quieting and resting and fixing your eyes on Jesus in this season. So what this does, as I said, is open up our heart to God in the business. And it opens up our heart to what God is doing in us and with us, and that God is creating life in us and through us, and that we are creating and turning our life over to God. And it's not us doing it on our own, but it's us doing it in this beautiful dance that you hear me talk about all the time with the Trinity. And it is the season to open the doors of our life and to let the King of Glory come in. It's the season to say yes to Him as we slow down, quiet, and when we listen. I want to read this again, Romans 13. To live like this is all the more urgent. To live like what? To live like the love that I was talking about. For time is running out, and it is a strategic hour in human history. It is time for us to wake up. This interesting word is this word sleep or slumber. It's a natural and periodic state of rest during which consciousness of the world is suspended. So I have some questions that I want to ask about awakening. But I want you to think about this for a minute, which the consciousness of the world is suspended when we awaken. See, when we sit with the Lord and He awakens, then I really see somebody else. The consciousness of the world is suspended. I love that. And awaken means to rise up, to get out of bed, to get out of slumber. And it says that sometimes it's construed by the awakening alone. And as I was meditating on that, because I had no idea what that meant, I began to think about it, and I went, each one of us have to awaken. I can't make you awaken. I can't make anybody wake up. I can say, hey, wake up. Hey, it's time to get up. But see, I can't do it. You can't do it. We spend so much time being each other's Holy Spirit, it doesn't work. It does not work. Just let it go. Let it go. Just let that go, because it doesn't work. You know why? Because I got to awaken from me. I'm the one who has to awaken. But then when I awaken, other people look and they go, I like what you have and I want to awaken. The best thing we can do is come alongside people and to pray, but each one of us, it's an alone journey. It's a journey that we make by ourselves to wake up and to arise. Leon Morris says this awakening is not speaking of some remote period for which they could make leisurely preparation, but it's an imperative action now. So that wake up is he's going now. Wake up today. Wake up to what God is doing today. So this is what I want to ask you, and I'm going to, who wants to, yes, that's good. I'm going to hand out these pieces of paper. So there's two things we got going. One of them is, for all of you artists in the room who like to draw more than you like to write, or who get your emotions and feelings out through drawing, there's a table back there that has markers, it has pencils, paper, and you can go grab that. You can either go back to your seat or you can stay back there as we're going to continue on, because I'm going to bring everybody in to this moment of awakening as soon as we pass all of you out. The first two questions we're going to do as a community. Questions 3 through 8, you're going to do by yourself. You're not going to do all of them now. We're going to do a few of them. But 3 through 8, you're going to do by yourself. I would not be the pastor that I am if I just stood up here and preached. Because my heart is that we would all awaken. But the only way that you're going to awaken is if you sit down and spend your time and quiet and digest and listen. Because I can't make you awaken. So today we're going to start on that journey together of awakening. So my first question that I'm going to ask, who will run? Will you run for me, honey? Okay. When you answer, you can't answer for a long time, longer than 2 minutes. It's going to tell you, I love you, but I will shut you down. In love. I will do it in love, as in a neighborly kind of way. But I want and invite us to these. And also, can you type in my phone number? So, where are you? Is Dana here? Yeah, just quickly put me on a slide. So if you're shy and don't want to ask the question out loud, you can text me, and I will look at it, or answer it, and I will read it. Well, I will read it if it's appropriate. All right. I got a lot of text messages through church. Okay, so my number is, you have my number, Dana? Okay, you got it memorized? Good. So here's my first question. What does it mean to be awake? What does it even mean? So when I'm saying awaken, what does it even mean? You can raise your hand, you can scream it out. Tony will run to you.
I see a hand.
Hi everybody, blessings.
Hi, Matthew.
The first thing I thought about was what the prophet Isaiah said when he said, awake, awake, and put on your beautiful garments.
Beautiful.
And that I believe the saying that, like, God wants to do it, beautify you from the inside out, and it'll show on the outside.
Beautifully said. What else? What does it mean to awaken? You're going to be running, huh?
To me, to be awake means literally don't forget that God exists. And remember that He is always present. And so, literally, it's like, it's so easy for us to fall into the, what am I trying to say? It's very easy to lose sight of Him and just keep living as if He's not there. And when you live knowing His presence is with you, it augments your attention to things. And it makes you more awake to whatever. So even something as simple as just remembering He exists, I think, is to be awake.
Yeah. So listening and remembering that He's awake and purposing to that remembering. Here's one. To have a vast understanding or acknowledgement of what is. Are you willing to say more?
I'm not. It's pretty much straightforward.
Okay. That's it. All right. To be awake means to stay alive. So it means to open up, to be alive. To roll out of bed spiritually. Who was that? You gotta raise your hand. I'm sorry, I love you. Nice. I like it. I like it. Who else?
To remember that everyone's a neighbor.
To remember that everyone's a neighbor.
That we're
That's
all.
good. Anyone else? David, way back in the opposite corner of where you're standing.
To love.
To love. Yeah. So, what does it look like? What does it look like to be awake? Because a lot of times we say these things, but then we go, well, what is it? I always go to, what does that look like? What, honey? I saw you raise your hand.
I saw this in the first service, but didn't get to speak, but I thought of it as like the secret agent guy, like, that you walk in the room and you're like, oh yeah, it's a diner. He's like, oh yeah, that guy over there's left-handed, and he uses put sugars in his coffee, the exit doors around the back, but the super awareness of not just the physical, but the spiritual.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that he knows what's going on in the room. So you're alert, you're oriented, you see.
It sees more than just the big picture.
That's good.
Picks it up.
That's good.
Be slow to speak, but quick to listen.
Say it again, because I was looking at my phone. You see how I was not awake?
Be slow to speak, but quick to listen.
Okay. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yes.
I think it means to be aware of and manifest your eternal identity.
Come on.
Which is not what you have given yourself, but has been pressed upon you through grace, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's where the works thing comes from. That's not who God says we are. God literally says something and it becomes truth and it just happens. The breath leaves his mouth and it manifests in reality, right? That's why we exist.
That's good.
And so is with their identity. And when we believe that we are loved and we are cherished, it manifests through incredible things. The Bible says that we'll do greater things than even Jesus did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Here's one: to notice the pain and suffering in the world and reach out and address it. To be aware of it. You know, we get so much information over the internet. We get so much information. Like I was thinking, I always say this to Tony, when we were growing up, were all these difficult things happening? Or was it just we didn't have the information? I think it was always happening. I do think there's an exponential event happening, but it's to not become numb to others' pain. It's to not ignore it. You know, you can look at somebody who is homeless and just go, whatever, and you just keep walking about our business. Doesn't mean we have to give something to them, but to see them as a human and as loved by God. Doesn't mean we give them $1. That's not always the answer, but to see them. You know, we all kind of close off and walk by, right? Because we're afraid. Instead of just looking at them and just seeing, and then I just can't give you anything, but can you continue to see the person that's in front of us? So I like that, to notice the pain and suffering. To pursue God relentlessly. To be still in the midst of chaos, in the knowing that Jesus and the Holy Spirit has me. Being awakened in that moment to God's presence. When you take time to suspend judgment and sleep, you can wake up and see things in a fresh, new way. Waking up is a new way of seeing that is clear. They're good stuff. If your eyes are on the storm, you'll wonder if I love you still. But if your eyes are on the cross, you'll know that I always have and always will. Amen.
I really get a sense, I like the idea of awareness. I think there's also an urgency. We get that in the Bible verse, that there's like this importance, there's a weightiness to the time that we have. And it reminded me of a little vignette in one of the Narnia stories that we were just reading. A boy has just like trekked across all this land to alert the city that they're going to be under attack. And he's gone over a mountain and he just barely survived. He meets all these creatures who are talking creatures. And so he says, you know, the enemy is coming. We need to go tell the king. And they say, oh yeah, well, the king, he's out hunting or something. That sounds good. And they don't do anything. And then another one, and he has like this whole little caravan of like birds and squirrels and chipmunks who are completely useless. And then finally, this, I forget if it was a dwarf or a stag, come up. And they're like, are you kidding me? Let's go! Like, there was an immediate reaction to what was happening. And so, to me, that was kind of an awakeness. They had an awareness of what was happening and felt the urgency. They recognized the urgency of what was going on.
Yeah, which you're right, Matt. That is, it's not speaking of some remote period for which they could leisurely make preparation, but of an imperative action. That's the verb there, wake up, awaken. You're absolutely right. And I think that we, you know, and I can even speak for myself, I think the church global has moved into a place of complacency, that coming into these doors is what it is. That looking good, that doing good is what it is. But I so believe that there's something deeper that calls us, God is calling us to, and it is that radical loving of God and then loving of others. And not just in the community here, but loving the difficult, loving the broken, loving the nasty, loving those that we look at and go, man, I got a hard time with you. Loving those that we feel are unjust. It's easy to love those who love us back or like us. True love is loving those who do not deserve it, who don't deserve it, and who are jerks. We all know people like that, and it hurts to go, I will love you, I will love you, I will love you. Doesn't mean that we lay down and let them tromp all over us. That's not what I'm talking about. Because sometimes you gotta love from afar. Sometimes you gotta love from a distance because somebody is toxic. So I'm not talking about toxicity. Not talking about that. I'm talking about in a normal walking, not with the toxic. So, was there somebody else who? Okay.
I feel like we're on a journey of continual awakening. When I look over the course of my life, I see that there have been significant moments of awakening in my spiritual journey. And it's only when I have been in a place of complacency and comfortability that those awakenings cease. And so I feel like God is continually wanting to show things to us and awaken things within us that we don't even know are there, that are part of our calling, part of our prophetic destiny, that when we get comfortable and we get complacent, we're standstill.
Yes.
We can't go anywhere else.
Yes. So let me read a few of these. Choosing not to pursue numbness when things get difficult, what you're talking about, being is numbness, but choosing to see another for who God made them to be and the little special part of the Lord that He's placed within them. That's good. Another one, augmenting your perception of the mundane as much as the extraordinary. To be awake means to see God at work in all people, in all places, at all times. Whether things are good, whether things are bad, it is to find God in the midst. It's good. It looks like an intentional conversation in a cozy coffee shop that can go on for hours between people who have put all differences aside and whose only objective is to love. Nice. That's Elijah. It's nice. It is definitely not sleepwalking through life. Look, people are sending these anonymously and I'm staring at them. See, sometimes I don't have their number. Oh, look, if somebody's went ahead to question two, that's awesome. I'll get to that in question two. Looking at other people as the end result, not as a means to an end. Ascribing worth to others at cost to ourselves instead of ascribing worth to ourselves at cost to others. Preach it, Jude. Do you understand?
Can you say that again?
Looking at other people as the end result, not as a means to an end. Ascribing worth to others at cost to ourselves instead of ascribing worth to ourselves at a cost to others. So we're always, the ones that are in the right, the ones who look good, and we vilify the other person. Nice. To be and act Christ-like in the full circle God has given you. Yes. Yes. So where God has placed us, the field, to be who Christ has called us to be and to move as Christ has called us to move. So I'm going to move on to number 2. Do you want to say something? Okay. I heard your name. Okay. Why should we be awake? Let me go back to, why should we be awake? We were made to be awake, to have the chance to know God's love and be in relation with Him. Each of us was made to reflect who God is, never in the exact same way. God is too big for any one person to carry His image alone. In the moments of life where I have fallen short, been impatient, missed someone who is no longer here on earth, I'm quickly reminded how much I would give to have that moment back. To be awake is to live love in its fullest. It's irreplaceable, and it's what our heart longs for. I'm sorry, who wrote that? That is beautiful. Nice. Thank you. That is beautiful. So beautiful. It's Cassandra. That was nice. So, why should we be awake? She kind of summed it up in a beautiful way.
So as I'm reading through the passage, he talks about being awake. He ends with clothe yourself with the Lord Jesus Christ. And in the passage, he's basically saying, hey, snap out of your worldly sinful behavior and be obedient. The darkness, the night, carries the sin. And in the light of Jesus, we act and behave differently. So if we walk in the light and are awake, we focus more on Him.
Nice. I saw it. I think Dave back there.
Good morning. I was just feeling this song, the secular song from the 70s that's entitled Wake Up Everybody. And just a little bit of it says, wake up everybody, no more sleeping in bed, no more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There's so much hatred, war, and poverty. And it goes on and on, but the course is, the world won't get no better if we just let it be.
Come on.
The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me.
Nice. There you go.
I was reading in Romans chapter 10, and it's how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news.
Nice. So what's that speaking to you, David? What's that saying?
That when we walk in love and in God's will, it's telling me that the news is that we're alive, that we're awake. And if we walk in the manner in which we're supposed to walk, the world will see us as representing God.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
And for those that didn't know, what Jeannie was saying, that song was sung by Pendergrass, and his picture is posted at 52nd and Market Street. When you're on the L, you can see it from Philly Boy hometown. So there you have that one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, Philly boy.
Yeah.
As you're coming up here, Joanne had her hand up, but let me read this. If we're asleep, we cannot respond to what is happening around us. Without the revelation of what is real, we will instead only know absurd dreams and visions found only in our head. Only able to run and hide and not able to live in grace.
Wow.
These are some good stuff. We should get these printed up, Dana, and sent out.
We have one back there.
Says, okay, let me read this. You can interpret this how you want, but when you are waking up, it's very hard and sometimes takes a while.
Yes.
It's true. It's the hardest to wake up and get out of bed, but once you're awake, you're good for the day. Finding that awareness and awareness of Jesus is just like that, waking up. But once you're there, it can change a lot.
Yes.
What was that? That's so brilliant. Beautiful. Thank you. We need to be aware of the happenings around us. To stay awake, we need to take charge of those things happening around us. We therefore should always stay awake. Yes, Silas. When we are awake, we see how I just call your names out? There's no anonymity. When we're awake, we see people the way God sees them. We see the image of God in them, not their actions. We see ourselves the way God sees us. Yes and amen, Rook. When we seek to numb rather than seek to understand, the pain feels heavier, the darkness is unbearable, thoughts flood our minds without ceasing, and we are restless. Earthly discomfort overwhelms us, and we begin to lose hope. But God's love is more powerful than anything from this earth. To be awake is making the choice to accept that rather than fall into more of the abyss. To be the choice to accept that rather than fall more into the abyss. Only then can we love others to the capacity that God calls us to. Elijah. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I love simple things like that. It's beautiful. I got two more. To spread the good news of God's love. Yes. A sleeper reacts to outside stimuli, i.e. fight, flight, or freeze, while one who is awake can respond. Question, engage, dig in.
Whoa.
That's good. A sleeper reacts to outside stimuli, so they react, but one who is awake can respond. Nice, Andrea. Thank you. And then finally, if you're asleep, you're living in a dream, or it's really more like a nightmare. And as in most cases of dreams, we only see and have no response. We need to be awake so we can respond. Your gamma waves are going on the road. It's good. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to ask you to turn on some mellow music. Did Terry download it? Dana? And I'm just going to take a few minutes, and I want you to look at questions 3 through 8. And I want you to choose one of those right now, but I'm inviting you to take this home with you and to study it and to read it and to allow God to speak into you, to slow down, to quiet yourself and to listen. But I want you to take one of these right now. And if you have a journal, write it in your journal, write it on the back of the piece of paper. If you are a drawer, like I said, I have pens, papers, pencils back there that you can draw on, and I actually took Tony's art paper. So it's actually on art paper that you can just even start to draw what is stirring in your mind. And I want you to answer at least one of these, and to go quiet, to listen, and to allow God to speak to you. What is it, especially what does being awake look like in my life? Or where in my life am I sleeping? Where do I need to awaken? What changes do I need to make? So I invite you to answer these questions, and I'll come back in a minute. So I have 3 more texts I want to read, and then as we go into communion. One of them is this: why should we be awake? Because we can't live our life in a cloud, worrying about what everyone else thinks. MLK was awake. Abraham Lincoln was awake. Gandhi was awake. Martin Luther King was awake. Martin Luther was awake, sorry. These people fought for what they believed. They had an understanding of how we're supposed to be, and they were willing to lay everything down to make a change. Another one was, I think an element of awakening that we didn't discuss is preparation. It's hard to get up and to be alert, especially if we don't get the sleep that we need. I believe that Jesus is asking us to also prepare, to get the sleep we need, to study His Word, to take care of our health, so that we can be awake and that we can be ready.
Yeah.
It's a very key point. And then finally, if we are not awake, we may forget that we are in fact children of God and not of this earth, and that we have a higher calling. Amen. So, I think what I want to do is, if I have everyone's permission, is to put this out on Facebook, Twitter, because I think these are profound, what everybody wrote in the text that Dana over. And, just what does it mean to be awake in this Advent season? So if I have your permission, I would love to do that. And I would love even more to be able to put your name on it. I don't have everybody's name, so if you don't see your name, it's not because I didn't like you, it was because I didn't know who sent me the text. But if you do not want your name out there, just write no. Send me a quick text right now that says no. And I will respect that and not put it out. But I just think this is why I love these open question times, because there is so much wisdom in this room. That's just profound and it's beautiful. Can you take this? It's hard as it is. So I want to go into communion. And I didn't ask anybody to do communion, so I'm going to ask the 2 college guys, one graduated, one college. Would you guys serve communion this morning? And Elijah and Mel, would you guys, other college students? Just so everybody knows, Jason has already graduated, but you're close, just this year. Usually you coach them before, you just bring them over here, but it's okay. As we talk about awakening, and as we talk about loving others as God has loved us, and loving others as He calls us to love ourselves, communion is such a part of that. That when we take communion, it is not just us as individuals taking communion, but it is us as the body. And it's not only the image of what Christ did for us on the cross, but it is also the image of the body of Christ. That is us. And it is us loving one another and remembering what He did for us so that we could love one another. On the night that He was betrayed, He took the bread, He broke it, and He said, "This is my body, which is broken for you." And then He took the cup and He said, "This is the cup of the new covenant in my blood. And as much as you eat of this bread and drink of this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until He comes." So this morning, I invite us that as we take communion, that our prayer would be, "Lord, thank you for what you've done, and I need your awakening this morning. And I need you to come into every area of my life, and any place that I'm sleeping, awaken me. And any place that I need to prepare to be awakened, that I would be willing to be prepared." So Lord, we thank you with hearts open. We come to you on this first day of this Advent season. And we come to you. Awaken our hearts, Lord. Prepare our hearts, Lord. In Jesus' name, you can come up as you so desire.
You can love someone like me. In your hands, eternity. Yet you have the time for me. So deserved. You held nothing in reserve. Heaven played its symphony. I took your hand and you rescued me. Praise is falling down. It's falling down. It's like a rain. It's falling down to me. Staring at my history, I was all alone, but never free.
Just want to close out with a couple of things. First off, there's prayer cards underneath your chairs, and if you need prayer or want people to just consistently pray over those cards, we invite you to fill them out and put them in the boxes in the back. And we just remind you, Monday night, there's no ESL, correct, Sandy?
Correct.
There's no ESL on Monday. Tuesday night is prayer at 7, and we're going to keep with the theme of Advent, so we invite you to come. Wednesday is our community dinner and women's Bible study following that. And Thursday, no ESL again. Saturday is our Digging Deep Bible study here at 9. And
Friday is free lunch.
and Friday starts free soup lunches from 11 to 1. And also on Tuesday, Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, and that is something that Facebook has started. And they have an offer that if you give to Justice Reign on Tuesday, or any 501c3, but we're inviting you to Justice Reign, match dollar for dollar up to like $7 million. Wow. So if you've ever thought of giving to Justice Reign, Tuesday is the day to do it, because it'll be matched dollar for dollar. So your 5 will get you 10. So it's a great opportunity to help Justice Reign along with all of the endeavors that they're involved in right now. So that would be wonderful. And Free Soup Fridays, I already said that. So let's stand for the benediction. My prayer for all of us is this, that we would awaken, and that we would see others around us, and that we would allow God to awaken us up first, and then with our being woke, we would enter this world and help awaken others in this world. And I pray that our eyes will see the other, our